Welcome to Mindful Monday. My name is Allison Knight, and I am the health coach for Employee Health Center. Last week, we were talking about seeing thoughts as thoughts and talking about creating a new relationship with thought where we see our thoughts as thoughts and not as the truth. We learned that when we get pieces of information, we string together to create meaning, but it isn't always the truth. It's just what we think is happening. Then I asked you to do an activity where you created a list of your 10 most unhelpful thoughts. Not only did I want you to list your thoughts, but also the tone in which you say those thoughts in your head. By doing this, we start to find our personal patterns of thoughts that we find unhelpful and that might lead us down that rabbit hole into depression or anxiety or burnout, etc. Then we talked about using the breathing space. We talked about sitting meditation and actually focusing and bringing that thought into the forefront instead of gently guiding ourselves back and either seeing it on a movie screen and letting it pass by, seeing them as clouds passing by in the sky, feeling or looking for the feeling that you have in your body, the sensations that are relating to that thought, what feeling and emotion are causing that. And then we took it a little bit further. We want to design an early warning system for ourselves to be able to tell when we are going to spiral out of control into that depression or the anxiety or the burnout or the stress. And so using those 10 unhelpful thought patterns, we are also going to look at our triggers and our early warning signs. Early warning signs might include feeling exhausted all the time, either sleeping too much or too little, either eating more or eating less, feeling more irritable with yourself or others, not finding things that you usually do enjoyable, etc. And so taking those thought patterns, taking these signs and other triggers, which might be internally or externally, and starting to create a relapse signature or your personal signature that tells you when you are going to spiral out of control. And so that's what we worked on last week. We worked on creating your personal early warning system. This week, we are going to talk about kindness in action. And so this is something that we're going to further use once we've determined that we are spiraling out of control. This can help us improve our mood and help us going in the right direction. So I want you to take a few minutes to think about your typical week and what it looks like. I want you to create a list of 10 things that you have to do in a week, and I want you to try to break them down into smaller pieces as much as possible. So instead of just going to work, checking emails, talking to colleagues, maybe doing payroll if you're on HR, or housework. Well, what specifically do you do? Maybe cleaning the bathrooms, folding the laundry, mopping the floors. Break it down into smaller pieces if you can. Then once you've created this list, you are going to determine two things. Are these activities something that lift your mood, nourish you, and energize you? Or do they deplete your mood, drain you of energy, and dampen your mood? And so next to things that nourish you, you're going to put an N. And next to things that dampen your mood or decrease your mood, you're going to put a D. So this allows you to determine what increases my mood, what decreases my mood. Why we're doing this is we're showing that what we do affects how we feel, and more importantly, we can change how we feel by changing what we do. So once you've created that list of your daily activities or weekly activities and determine, does this nourish me or dampen my mood, nourish my mood or dampen my mood, then we're going to create a list of activities that help. And so this is going to be two separate lists. We're going to have a mastery list and a pleasure list. So we're going to create a list of 10 for each again. And now the list of pleasure activities are things that increase your mood, they improve your sense of enjoyment and pleasure. And then we have mastery activities and these are things that give you a sense of accomplishment. Now, the thing about mastery activities is that they don't necessarily improve your mood while you're doing them, but once you finish, you'll have that sense of accomplishment, or something is different after that's going to help improve your mood. So the activity itself might not necessarily be something that gives you joy while you're doing it. So you're going to create those two separate lists. So for instance, my pleasure activities, I have watch a funny show, listen to upbeat music, take a hot shower, read a good book, have a cup of coffee. Those are things that give me pleasure while I'm doing them, and they are healthy things. On the flip side, my list of mastery activities, these are things that doing the activity is going to give me a sense of accomplishment, though while I'm doing it, it might not be particularly pleasurable. So I have go to the gym, wash the dirty dishes in the sink, put away the laundry, make the bed, go grocery shopping. Again, things that are going to make me feel better in the long run, but maybe not while I'm doing them. What we're doing by creating this list of activities is setting ourselves up with a plan for when we do feel like we're starting to slip down that rabbit hole. We can tell that we're having those warning signs, those triggers, those thought patterns that start leading us down one path. We can pull out these activities and look at them and decide and determine, what can I do to start improving my mood now? It's important to do this and try to incorporate these into your life now while you're in a relatively good mood, so that it's already part of your life and already part of your plan when things start to get out of control. And the best way to do this is start to bring it into your life or incorporate it into your life as small steps and then add on to that. For example, if you want to take a walk and you're not walking now, you might want to just start with 1 10-minute walk a day. And then as you are able to fit that into your lifestyle, maybe 2 walks a day. And maybe eventually it's a 10-minute walk every day, and that's kind of your break, your mental break. But if we start implementing that into our daily life now, when we're relatively in a good mood, we're not depressed, we're not stressed out, then it's something that is easily continued and easily attainable when we are starting to spiral out of control. Next week, we are going to go into how motivation works when you are depressed, because it's backwards, how kindness heals and hinders, and how unkindness hinders, and then thoughts that stand in our way, those negative thoughts that we have that can prevent us from digging ourselves out of that hole. I look forward to seeing you guys next week, and I hope that you have a wonderful and mindful Monday. Thanks so much for joining.